Are you struggling to figure out how to actually use Gemini AI? This video is for you because by the end you'll know exactly how to use Gemini AI for free to save time, create better content and grow your online business much faster. Keep watching because this could be the smartest shortcut you'll use all year. Now before we get started, can I ask one small favour? If you like what I do here, can you please hit the subscribe button? That keeps me energized to bring you more content. Thank you very much. Let's get into it. Okay, let's begin with tip number 1, which is to use the free version of Gemini AI the right way. Now, a lot of people don't even realize this, but if you already use Gmail or Google Documents, then you can actually access Gemini AI for free with no subscriptions and no credit cards. Just go to gemini.google.com and log in with your own personal Gmail account, and from there you can actually start prompting Gemini just like ChatGPT. But it's also connected to Google's ecosystem as well, which means there is a smoother workflow for documents, sheets and even Gmail. Now here's where a lot of people really do mess up. They treat AI like a vending machine instead of a creative partner. Now I would suggest you treat Gemini like your co-pilot and not a button pusher. Instead of saying write a blog post, you want to say something like act like a copywriter for a productivity coach, give me a 5-part blog outline for solopreneurs and business owners who work from coffee shops. So there's an example prompt you can use. Now that one shift gives Gemini way more context and makes the results 10 times more usable. Now one of my students, Adam, was actually spending hours trying to write content for his tech gear blog. Now when we started using Gemini with better prompts like the following: summarize the top 3 pros and cons of the Mac Air M2 for college students. So that was the prompt we used. He actually cut his research and writing time by 60%. It wasn't magic, it was just clarity. So the better the prompt you use and the more detail and context you give it, the better the results will be for you with Gemini. Now to actually supercharge your Gemini experience, you can use it inside Google Documents. It's already built in. Just open a Google Documents, look for the star icon on the right and activate the Help Me Write. Now you can actually generate emails, blog posts, sales pages and even brainstorm product names while you're working in the document. It's clean, very focused and much faster than toggling between different tabs. Now if you're not sure where to actually start, you can use prompt marketplaces like AIPRM.com or even prompthero.com. I recommend browsing their Gemini specific prompt libraries to get a feel for high performing prompt frameworks used by marketers and solo business owners. Then you can just adapt them to your own niche and your own voice. Now there is a bit of a myth that free means limited, but for content creation you don't need the paid plan. Unless you're doing code or building APIs, the free Gemini tier handles content research, outreach and creative brainstorming just fine, so you'll be okay with the free version. Now you're much better off mastering the free tool than paying for something you don't know how to use fully, so just start with the free version at first. Now another one of my students, Emily, used Gemini to actually create a 7-day email welcome series for her handmade soap brand, and it only took her one afternoon to actually do this. And she said it used to take her weeks and tons of second guessing. Now she just uses Gemini to actually write, then she just tweaks for her own voice and her own unique insights. And at open rates, they have actually doubled in the process. Let's now move on to tip number 2, which is to use Gemini to save time in your online business without sacrificing any quality. Now let's be real for a second. If you're building a side hustle, you don't probably have too many hours to batch content every week. Gemini can actually help you create an entire month of content in under an hour. If you use structured prompts like the following: give me 4 Instagram posts, 2 emails and 1 blog outline for a small business coach focused on burnout recovery. So there's an example prompt you can use. Now you can get a strategic mix and not random fluff. Now one smart trick is to actually recycle and reframe content that already works. So you could just paste an old blog post into Gemini and say the following: turn this into a Twitter thread with 7 punchy tips. So there's the prompt you can use. Or something like make this a carousel for Instagram. So there's another prompt you can use. Now this is how one of my clients, Jenna, actually tripled her engagement in just 40 days without creating anything new. just smarter repurposing and smarter prompting. So you don't want to waste Gemini on surface level ideas. You want to ask it to take on roles like act as a marketing strategist for a handmade jewelry brand. So there's a prompt you can use. And then just tell it your goals. Help me plan a content calendar that focuses on storytelling and community. So there's another prompt you can use. Now that kind of prompt will help you with role-based approach. Now that role-based approach gives Gemini focus and actually helps to generate way more useful output than very generic prompts. So the more detail and context you give the prompt, the better the output will be for you. Now, a tool I recommend pairing with Gemini is actually Notion. So you can use Gemini to build ideas and some outlines, then just organize your calendar draft posts and track the repurposing inside Notion. The combo of Gemini and Notion has helped multiple clients stop losing content in random Google documents. So I recommend you do the same thing. Now, if you do any client work, you can actually use Gemini to generate proposal templates, onboarding emails, and even service descriptions. Now, one of my students, Marcus, started using Gemini to write personalized pitches for freelance projects. And he actually landed 2 new clients in just 2 weeks because he sounded more confident and more clear. And before that, he was struggling with what to actually say. Now, there is a bit of a myth that AI makes your content generic, but that only happens when you don't inject any personality into your prompts. I always tell clients to add a voice injection prompt, something like the following. Make this sound casual, like a 30-year-old creative entrepreneur explaining it to a close friend. So there's an example prompt you can use. Now that one line can completely shift the vibe and make the output feel much more authentic. Now, if your challenge is with consistency, you can use Gemini to build out a publishing system. So you can just ask Gemini, help me create a weekly publishing schedule for TikTok, email, and blog with topics that build trust and drive traffic. So there's another prompt you can use. Now, this actually helped my student Noor finally stick to a schedule and grow her list from 200 to 1,100 in 60 days without any burnout. Let's now move on to tip number 3, which is to use Gemini AI for smarter research. Now, the traditional way of doing niche research, which is endless Googling and scraping articles, is actually very, very slow. Gemini can actually summarize multiple perspectives in just a few seconds. So you can try a prompt like the following. Summarize 5 current buyer objections for online fitness coaching programs in 2025. So there's an example prompt for some research that you could actually use. Now you will get insights that would take hours to actually gather manually doing this. Now, if you want to validate your business idea without launching blindly, you want to ask Gemini something like this. Compare demand and difficulty for selling planners, digital templates, and Notion dashboards in 2025. So there's another prompt you can use for some research. Now that's how my client Lisa actually decided not to launch a candle shop and instead built a digital planner brand that now earns her consistent weekend sales. So you can actually use Gemini to help you deeply understand your target audience. So you can ask Gemini, describe a day in the life of a busy mum trying to start an Etsy shop, including her biggest frustrations and hopes. So there's another prompt you can use. Now that one prompt can actually help you write adverts, emails, and even content, all with empathy and precision. Now a hidden gem is to actually use Gemini with transcripts from otter.ai or even YouTube. So you can actually grab the transcript of your favorite competitor's video and just plug it into Gemini and say the following. Summarize the key strategies and explain how I could actually apply this to selling digital art prints. So there's another prompt you could use. Now what you're doing here is you're actually learning from leaders without spending hours watching the content. Now one of my students, Dre, actually used Gemini to summarize 10 articles or influencer marketing for small brands. And he turned that into a content pillar and a free ebook. That's now helping him to build his email list. Now the info was already out there, but Gemini made it very usable in just a few hours. So don't just ask Gemini for facts, you want to ask it for decision support. So you can say something like the following. Help me weigh the pros and cons of launching a group coaching program versus a digital course for beginner freelancers. So there's another prompt you can use. Now what you're doing here, you're actually using AI to get some clarity and not just some content. Now another unique move is using Gemini to actually help you identify trends before they actually go mainstream. So you can say to Gemini, what are underrated digital product niches emerging on TikTok and Instagram in 2025? So there's another prompt for research that you can use. And you'll be really surprised how quickly Gemini can actually spot patterns that you will probably miss. And spotting trends early is how you can actually stay ahead of the crowd. Let's now move on to tip number 4, which is to use Gemini to power up your sales and your marketing, even if you're not a copywriter. Now, sales messaging is where most entrepreneurs and business owners really do fall flat, and Gemini can totally transform that for you. Instead of just saying write a product description, you want to say something like the following: write this as if I'm talking to a burnt out side hustler or business owner looking for an easy win. So there's a prompt you can use. Now that empathy driven language connects on a whole different level. So you can use Gemini to actually test different positioning angles for your products and services. So you could try a prompt like the following: give me 3 unique angles for selling this $47 journaling course focusing on mental health, creativity and daily routines. So there's another prompt you can use. Now what you have here is you've got some marketing options that speak to different segments of your audience. Now one of my students, Andre, used Gemini to reframe his sales page for a digital art course. He shifted from learn to draw to express yourself when you're burnt out from work, and sales actually doubled for him in just 3 weeks. It wasn't the offer that was changed, it was the positioning of his offer. Now a great app to actually pair with Gemini is card.co, so that's CARRD.co, for some quick landing pages. Now you can actually ask Gemini to write copy for a simple lead magnet page, and then just drop that text right into Card. Now this combination helped one of my students, Alina, launch her first email list and get 86 subscribers in her first 2 weeks with 0 advert spend. Now you can use Gemini to actually write email sequences in your voice. So you can use a prompt like the following: write 5 emails for people who downloaded my free Canva template, focusing on building trust and leading to a low ticket offer. So there's the prompt you can use. Now you'll get a full sequence that nurtures the lead instead of scaring them away with pushy sales copy. Now another controversial but true strategy I want to give you is to don't try to sound professional. Try to just sound more personal, one-on-one, as if you're talking to them in a conversation. Now people don't actually buy from brands, they buy from people. So if you actually ask Gemini to write like you're texting a close friend who's on the fence about something, that one shift actually increased conversions for one of my clients, Stephanie, by 40% just by sounding more human. Now if you want to turn one good piece of content into multiple traffic streams, then you can use the following prompt: turn this product tutorial into a YouTube description, Instagram caption and an email teaser. So there's the prompt you can use. Now that one idea becomes 3 different posts, each tailored to a different platform with 0 extra thinking on your part. Let me now give you tip number 5, which is to use Gemini AI to build digital products faster. Now, if you've been sitting on that online course, ebook or template idea for a few months, Gemini can actually help you build it fast. Now most people procrastinate because they don't know where to actually start, or they get overwhelmed by structuring the content. Now you can start by prompting Gemini like this: act as an instructional designer, help me create a digital course for freelancers who want to land better paying clients. Now there's the prompt you can use. Now Gemini will actually break it into modules, lessons and even include homework suggestions that you can build on. It's a bit like having your own curriculum designer without the price tag. Now to actually get your ideas out of your head and into a sellable format, I recommend using Teller for screen recording and Notion to actually script it all. Now Gemini can help you generate the lesson scripts, and you can actually record over slides or demos using Teller in just minutes. Then you can use Notion to actually create a product dashboard or even a workbook. Now this exact method helped Karen, one of my students, launch a mini online course on Etsy SEO in just 2 weeks. And before that, she was stuck thinking that she had to wait until everything was actually perfect. Now she's making consistent side income without ever building a full website. Now you can also use Gemini to write full ebooks or even guides without staring at a blank page. And you can try the following prompt: outline a 10-page beginner's guide to growing an audience on TikTok for introverts. So there's the prompt you can use. Then you can just follow up with the following prompt. Now expand each section with tips, examples and action steps. So there's the second prompt you can use. And you can use Canva to turn that content into a beautiful PDF that you can actually sell or even give away as a lead magnet to build your email list. Now, I've seen this work incredibly well for creators in personal development, parenting and career coaching niches. Now, one powerful and underrated prompt is the following. Give me a list of product ideas that solve daily problems for, and then just insert your niche. So there's the prompt you can use. And you'll be amazed by how quickly Gemini uncovers gaps that your audience is actively struggling with. For example, if you say new mums with full-time jobs, Gemini might suggest sleep trackers, daily meal planners, or even 10-minute workout templates, all of which can be turned into quick sell products. Now, if the tech overwhelms you, then just pair Gemini with no-code tools like Gumroad, Standstore for social media, or even payhip.com. Now, Gemini can actually help you write the product descriptions as well, and the sales page copy, and even the confirmation emails. Now, Jesse, one of my students, used Gemini to set up a $9 ebook offer on Gumroad. That started pulling in sales within just a few days after sitting on the idea for a few months. Now, the big difference was he finally had the tools and a simple process to actually follow. Now, you can also use Gemini to actually generate product titles, taglines and even bundle names that actually sound like something that people would want to purchase. So you could just say to Gemini, give me 10 catchy names for a Notion template that helps solopreneurs and business owners plan a month of content in 1 hour. There's a prompt you can use. Now, this kind of micro branding makes your product feel more premium, even if it is just a simple $5 download. And that feeling increases perceived value very quickly. Now, make sure you don't forget that Gemini can actually help you build launch plans as well. So you can prompt Gemini with the following. Create a simple 7-day product launch plan for a $17 Canva template using only Instagram and email marketing. So there's the prompt you can use. And you'll get a full breakdown of what to post, what to email and when to actually do it. That one prompt helped a client of mine go from 0 to 41 sales during their first digital launch without running a single ad. Wow, that's it for this video. Now, if you're serious about building your online business and creating a sustainable online income, take the next step now. Click the link below in the description or in the comments and go through to my website where you can find some free training resources to help you get started right away. These free step-by-step resources are designed to guide you through launching a successful online business and generating online income streams. So don't wait, take action today. Click the link below and start your journey right now. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really does energize and motivate me to create more content for you. Thank you very much indeed. And if you want to connect on social, you can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram. The links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, and have a wonderful day.